This project aimed to explore the creative and critical possibilities of artificial intelligence, machine learning and robotics in the arts and humanities. These technologies are clouded in myth, speculation and a strong sense of technical complexity, but, we suspected, are often built up from relatively simple structures and algorithms. For artists and designers to use AI, machine learning, robotics and other smart and responsive technologies in creative work, and for critics and theorists addressing their cultural and political effects, we need hands-on resources, accessible, flexible and fun to use. We began the project by researching hobbyist, educational and consumer devices and systems in two main areas. Firstly, low-cost, portable, wearable, connectable platforms and devices such as Raspberry Pi, Circuit Playground and related technologies. And then the second area was robotics. As we mapped these devices, their languages, their operating systems and the available supporting material, we began to imagine a curriculum of creative AI, a series of workshops or even a whole programme of study, starting with students starting from no experience and expertise and gradually and incrementally building up a grasp of coding, physical engineering and so on. One way into this, we thought, might be to research board and card games. We imagine we might start the learning process with analog systems and algorithms rather than computer-based ones. So we played games with game mechanics that incorporate characters and agents that are not directly controlled by the players. Taking the YouTube trope of the genre of the unboxing video, we attempted to do something similar. We talked about the technology as we opened it, shared our experiences of similar systems, shared our confusion.
Once we sandwich this together.
We spent a lot of time trying to get things to work, downloading firmware, trying to make Bluetooth connections, finding instruction manuals, connecting smart devices with supposedly other smart devices. And Evo Ozobots, which are particularly good for starting out with robotics and coding, because they, rather than having to be programmed in a conventional way via a computer, you can draw the code for them. They recognise lines and sequences of colour and respond accordingly. We tested some of our findings and some of our purchases at the Hands-on Humanities Day in November. So it really was a kind of baptism of fire in seeing whether we could introduce our ideas to a public, obviously, as you'll see, mainly quite a young public. And it was a lively and rather chaotic day, but I think ultimately we learnt a great deal from it, and it worked very well. We were joined in this by my PhD student Ink and her PhD project Gao, a robot who you'll see in a moment. And we themed it around the idea of virtual and robotic animals. We were bowled over by some of the ideas that the kids came up with in a very short period of time. They went from just drawing lines for the Ozobots to follow to quite very sophisticated games, really, with here we have a kind of relay race. Initially just a race to the finish, but then they worked out that with the right colours at the end of each line, the robots would turn around and run backwards and forwards up this little track. Some of what we learnt and collected from the AI Lab project, fed into another project, this time funded by the Web Science Institute, looking at the possible applications of AI and conversational agents in particular for gallery visitors and gallery installations. So we worked here with Sarah Hayden from English and her Voices in the Gallery project. The insights gained from this project are feeding into a number of new projects and initiatives. One is an AHRC standard research grant that I'm currently putting together. I'm also leading on the writing of a new undergraduate course for WSA on creative computing, and the findings and the resources that we've gathered on this project are going to feed directly into the design, are already feeding directly into the design of that curriculum. We also have the beginnings of what we imagine to be a robot library, a number of these devices that can be borrowed by students and staff for their own projects. And we'll also be running a series of robot play shops in which these machines and ideas and games can be tested out by staff at the University of Southampton and the AI and Arts Research Group.